I'll just give a brief introduction about the guest and what's the webinar all about. Am I audible?
Yes, Daksh, here.
Okay. So the webinar is on exploring cultures around the world, and we are specifically talking today about Canada. Canada, we all must be knowing, is a country in the northern part of America, and it has 10 provinces and 3 territories. So basically, in Canada, like we have states, they have provinces, and it's extended from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, and it is the second largest country in the world. And it's also known as land of leaves and land of immigrants because there are a lot of immigrants there. It consists of the longest binational land border between Canada and America, and it has mainly three big cities, that is Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. We all must be familiar with the names. So about our guest, Tanya is a popular YouTuber based in Canada. After the webinar, you can check out her channel. She lives in Toronto in Ontario province. She's pursuing a master's from Toronto City in Canada. So we'll start with the webinar. I'll request Tanya to switch on her camera. I'll also share my camera. Hi Tanya, I would like to introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay. Hi everyone. So, like you know, I'm Tanya, and I am an immigrant, an Indian student who is now in Canada, and I came here to pursue my post-graduation course in advertising, and it's been a year now over here, and I'm currently on my work permit here, and today we'll be talking about how the Canadian culture is, how diverse it is from the Indian culture, and just maybe answer a few questions that you have about Canada. So, about me, I make videos on YouTube. I talk about my experience as an international student, as an immigrant over here, and just share some tips and tricks about surviving in Canada. Um, yeah, let's just dive into Canadian culture and how different it is from Indian culture. So, um, I would say Canadian culture depends on the province that you are in. However, it is highly influenced by USA. So it is similar to what the culture in the States is, except for one province, which is Quebec, where you would see a lot of European and a lot of French influence. So, that being said, if you are planning to come to Canada, then let me tell you, you will always find Indian culture over here. There are a lot of Indians over here, and we celebrate all festivals. We had a huge Diwali celebration, and yeah, so you'll find a lot of Indian culture over here. And along with that, one misconception that people have over here is that when we say Indian, we only mean Punjabi people, and that is not true. You'll find all sorts of Indians over here. Um, so, yeah, that's just my brief about culture in Canada.
Okay, so why did you choose Canada over other countries like Australia, UK, and US? There are other countries also. Why you choose typically Canada only? What was in your mind before you came to Canada?
So a few reasons actually. So, one reason was that, like we all know, Canada is known to be one of the most diverse country, and it is also known as the land of immigrants. So, whoever I spoke to and whatever research I did, I knew for one sure thing that if I come to Canada, I would still have some place where I would feel a little home and where I could have my own culture. I would find Indians over here, and also I would not be facing as much racism as I would face in any other country. Along with that, so Canada is also known to be one of the countries where you could get the easiest PR. Uh, So yeah, compared to UK, USA, Canada seem to be an easier option if I really like the country and if I plan to stay here in future. So that was also one possibility that I had.
Okay, so one thing, what was your expectation before you came to Canada, and was what in your mind, and what happened in reality when you actually landed up in Canada?
Um, so expectations were that it's going to be very different. I had actually thought that it's going to be really different. I'm going to be interacting with a lot of Canadian people. I'm going to know what Canadian culture is. I honestly I thought that I wouldn't be interacting with so many Indian people, or I wouldn't be seeing so much of Indian culture. Um, which I saw, which is a great thing. And most of my friends that I have over here are Indians. And well, when we see videos and when we read about other students who go to an international country to study, it all looks really nice. And yeah, it looks like it's all good. And when I came over here, I came to know that the struggle is real. And even though I have a lot of fun and it's great being in Canada, but it is a lot of hard work. And yeah, a lot of people scared me about Canada being cold. I did not expect it to be so cold, but trust me, Canada is freezing. And yeah, that these are my expectations and reality. I didn't make a detailed video on that, so if you want, you can do check it out after this webinar.
Okay, so did you ever face any discrimination on the basis of you are not the native person there?
Mhm.
So did you face any discrimination, or was there anything you faced was not appropriate based on your nationality or color or something else?
Well, no, personally, me never. In fact, most of the people in Canada and in Toronto specifically are all immigrants, and you will barely find people who are first generation Canadians and who are Canadians by birth. Most of the people are immigrated over here, so which is why you'll barely feel any racism. I know a few people who have, but it is very rare.
Okay. So what kind of environment do you have? Like you said, you are studying. So you are studying master, so you must be in a college or university. What kind of environment do you have? How many nationality students are there studying with you? What's uh, where are the people from who are with you?
So, in my college, I did a post graduation course from Humber College, and most of the people in my college were immigrants. In fact, 60 to 70% of the class population was immigrants, out of which 50% were Indians. But other than that, we had people from other parts of Asia, we had people from Europe, we had people from Russia, we had some people from Africa, so it was very diverse. Indians were really dominant, but it was still very diverse. So yeah, I think one of the reason for that is that a lot of immigrants come here to do a post graduation, and Canadians usually prefer doing a master's from a university, which is why we see more number of immigrants over here.
Okay. So we are a cultural society, so we'll talk about little bit about cultural difference. So when you move somewhere far from your homes, far from your relatives and parents, so basically we tend to have major source of entertainment we have is cinema. So what
Right.
difference did you saw in Indian cinema and Canadian cinema?
Um, so, like I said, Canadian cinema is highly influenced by the States. So, most of the movies that are screened in Canada would be movies that are produced in the States or just Hollywood movies. Um, so, yeah, we do have a few regional movies and a few regional shows which are fun, which are really fun. And Yeah, it's great. Fun fact, so Canada is supposed to be a little cheaper while filming compared to the States, which is why a lot of Hollywood movies are filmed in Canada. So if they want to show places like Seattle, they would show Toronto. If they want to show places like California, then they'd go to Vancouver and shoot just to make it cheap. So yeah, um, how I don't think Canadian cinema is a lot different from Indian. It is very diverse. You can find all kinds of movies. And also, if you are an Indian who is a huge Bollywood fan, you are going to find a lot of Bollywood movie screenings over here. You're going to be listening to a lot of Bollywood music around. So you will feel at home.
Okay. So basically, I didn't understand what's the major difference. Like here we have Kannada cinema, Bollywood, and there we have regional Tollywood and other industries. So in Canada also, do we have the same?
Uh, yes, you do. So along with um, so it depends on province to province. So if you have something for Ontario, you would have if you have an English movie for Ontario, you would have a French movie, say in Montreal, in Quebec, and you would have a lot of European influence if you go to watch a movie which is produced and which is written in Montreal or Quebec.
Okay. So let's talk about music. So here in India, we have a lot of music is actually the backbone of the culture. So what difference you saw in music from India or uh, in Canada? Like in India, we have classical music, we have semi-classical, and we have different region have different type of music.
Right. So yeah, we do have a lot of different types of music in Canada as well. So the Irish, the British, the French have made unique contributions to the musical heritage in Canada. However, the music is, as I say for everything, is highly influenced by the American culture. One reason for that would be the proximity between them because they share borders, and so, going into some historical facts, um, so since one of the French explorers arrived in Canada, um, and settled in Quebec, so we have a lot of composers and musicians in that part of the country. So Quebec is really rich in terms of music, and Canada has given a lot of um, amazing artists to the world. If we talk about pop culture, so we have Drake, we have The Weeknd, we have Justin Bieber. And while I say that you have a lot of amazing English artists, uh, we also have some Indian artists like Sidhu Moosewala. So while you hear all of these English songs, while you hear all of these pop songs, you would also be hearing a lot of Punjabi songs over here. And when I say that, I don't mean that only Indians listen to them. I know a lot of Canadians who love Punjabi music and who love Indian artists in Canada.
Okay. And what about the dance culture? Like in dance also we have so many forms here, Kathak, Kuchipudi, and regional dances like Bhangra, Lavani. We have so many different kind of dance forms there. Is it similar to what we have there also? Do they have any diversity in?
It's pretty similar to um, it's not as diverse as India for sure, and it's kind of what we have throughout North America. So it's not as diverse as India.
Okay, okay. So where particularly are you from India and where it means?
I'm from Mumbai.
Okay, so definitely you must have seen some, like you have from a metropolitan city, so you will be aware of the cultural difference. And so is this Mumbai any similar to Toronto or is it any different?
It's pretty similar in in terms of the fast-paced life that we have over here, I would say Toronto is much lesser crowded compared to Mumbai. So I would say we have a better standard of life over here just because you have fewer people on the road, you have less traffic jams compared to Mumbai, you have bigger houses. So even though it is similar in the terms of fast-paced life, it's different while you get space to yourself. Um, but other than that, Mumbai had a great nightlife, and I think everyone would relate to me when I say that if you get out of your house at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. in the night, you would still have something to do. It is a little different in Canada where everything shuts down really early. And if you are not an early morning person, then it's going to be a little hard for you because because if you go out late in the night, most of the places would be shut by then. Maybe it's because of the cold, maybe it's because how harsh the winters get, and it gets even colder when the sun sets down. Um, so, yeah, that's the difference.
Okay, so uh, what's the most amusing cultural difference you saw when you moved from India to Canada? Most amusing, like you must have seen, that's something unique stuck on your.
Well, most amusing thing about Canadian culture. Uh, a lot of things.
Anything, any
I'm thinking,
experience you share?
um, well, they do take their holidays really seriously. So, um, when we would have when we would have huge say celebrations, and when we would have before a holiday we call it as the if you have a business, then you would have a lot of sales going on, and you would have a lot of people buying stuff from you on a holiday just because people have a lot of time to come. So you would keep your shop open for that. But over here, people take their holidays very seriously. So if you have a long weekend, you have to make sure you are stocked up with enough food because all the stores would be closed on that time, and people would be enjoying, they would be partying, and most of their holidays are just all about spending time with family and just sitting at home enjoying spending time with family. So they take their holidays very seriously.
Okay, so uh, you are, if I'm not wrong, you are studying advertising from Canada. So, what basic things you must be related to media field, and what major things you saw in Canadian media as compared to Indian media?
um so compared to Canada, Indian media is much ahead, and we have a lot going on. Canadian media is pretty, compared to that, it is pretty simple, it is pretty to the point. Uh, if I talk about advertising, people over here love people over here love loyalty benefits. They love collecting points, and Canadians are hoarders, so they love collecting points, and they're pretty simple compared to India. So it's pretty to the point over here.
Okay. So I'll request if anybody wants to post their questions, they can comment or they can raise their hand. I can unmute them so they can ask their questions one by one. They must be having some people. So we have some people in the chat box also questioning that is it important to know French in Canada?
If you go to Quebec, if you go anywhere in Quebec, then yes. Otherwise, no. I don't know French. I'm doing fine.
Okay. So there's Sanjana Serene saying ki if you want to pursue teaching from Canada, is it good option doing PG and then job or directly a job?
Um, yeah, I would suggest come here, maybe do a course, just because that gives you time to build contacts and that gives you enough time to understand the country. And also, while you're doing something like teaching, it would be nice to know how the teaching culture is in Canada. So, yeah, I would suggest just come here and do a course, and it's a great field. You can definitely make a future out of it over here.
Okay, anybody wants to ask any question about Canada? And I want to tell one thing that it's approximately 4:30 a.m. in the morning in Canada, and she has done a lot of effort, and I think she's awakened from whole night
Yeah.
for the webinar. So I would request if anybody wants to question, so we can uh, quickly get the conclusion of the webinar.
Exactly, Pritesh.
Sorry, please raise hand. I'm not. Yes. Okay, so one question is the chat box is opening. Huh. So she's asking one advice for every international student you want to give.
Mm, get ready for the struggle, and uh, don't don't just have a set idea in your mind that this is what you expect it to be. Be ready for adventures and be ready to take up whatever you get. You are going to have to do a part-time job if you come over here, and be ready to take whatever job you get, and just just be ready to struggle, and you're going to have a great time. It's going to be an experience for your life, a lifetime experience.
Okay, so we have another question. Is it possible to find jobs while studying? And what's the part-time or what's the student and the job function? Like we have here, we have different college job. We have some particular job that people have stereotypes about. Like in India, we have only या तो doctor बनो engineer बनो.
Right, right. So yes, definitely you can get a part-time job over here. In Canada, especially, almost every student while studying does a part-time job. So you can get a part-time job in the first month itself. If not, then you would get one in 2-3 months. You will have a part-time job, and yeah, you have a lot of diverse fields over here. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है that you have to be a doctor or an engineer. You can pursue whatever you like.
Okay, so what's like you must have been with many international students, and you in the university you have a particular culture. So what's the schema you when we see people of different courses like in India, in your when we are like in a particular university, so we have different streams and teachers and everyone look up different streams in a different way. Like engineering hai to that's very much important and some courses are not that important. There is a dilemma in every person's Indian general Indian mentality.
Right,
So
right.
what's that in Canada?
Um, so in terms of mentality, no, they treat everything as equal, and they won't be like, oh, so you're pursuing photography, so like, no, you like they won't take you seriously. That is not the thing over here. Um, but in terms of getting jobs and in terms of opportunities, definitely. The unfortunate truth is that there are a few specific fields, and those are the ones which will get you more PR points, which will get you a job easily, and which will um, be more respected professionally. So, although you won't be looked down upon if you do a specific course, but it's going to be easier for you if you do something which is more in demand over here.
Okay. So there's a question that did you find any difficulty while planning to go to Canada or reach up to there?
Difficulty in planning to go to Canada. Uh, so
To go to
not exactly difficulty, but it was a pretty lengthy
Canada
process.
or
Sorry, you're cracking.
there's some network issue, I guess.
Hello?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Hello,
hello?
am I audible? Uh,
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, Daksh.
so I, w- I was asking that w- somebody has posted a question that did you find any difficulty while you were planning to go to Canada, reaching up there and settling down?
Uh, yes, so going, first of all, reaching Canada was a very lengthy process just because if you're planning to go to a college, say in September, then you need to at least start applying by January or February of that year. So, which means that you have to apply at least 6 months prior, then you get your acceptance, and then you pay the fees, then you file the visa, and then you go. So if you want to come here, you need to make up your mind way before that. And then once you book your flight, once you reach here, you need to find your accommodation. And it's not so easy to find an accommodation over here, so you need to do that. You need to get adjusted with your college. If it's cold till then you need to get used to the weather over here. So not one specific difficulty, but it is a very lengthy process, and it's it's a little difficult to adjust to the change from one place to another.
So there's a question that is the quality life better in Canada, or do you find India more joyful and livable than Canada? And which place do you seem to be more enjoyable in terms of life and quality?
um Depends, totally depends on you as a person, but personally, the quality of life in Canada is much better. There's less pollution, there's more space around, there's a lot of greenery. Um, so, yeah, I think the quality of life in Canada is better.
Okay, so there's a question that are the girls safe at night? Uh, is safety a major concern in Canada? Or what's the food option do you get there? What all food options
Okay.
do you get there?
Okay, so let's talk about safety as a girl first. So Canada is one of the safest places to be, and it is pretty safe. Being a girl, I have traveled late at night. I have been on transit, using the public transit late at night, and I have not faced any problem. I have felt really safe, and even like yeah, even if I say that, I have to say there are good people and bad people, and it is important to keep your own safety and be careful. But other than that, it is pretty safe. And about food, what types of foods do you get? Everything. Canada is so diverse, and you're going to get food of every culture. So I've tried all kinds of different foods over here, and every time I crave for Indian food, there is always an Indian place that I can go to. Um, that being said, nothing can beat the street food and chaat that India has.
Okay. So, like in India, we have different food in different places. Like we in Delhi have something different in the terms of taste of the food. And like in
Yeah.
Mumbai, you have different taste. We go to South India, we have different taste. So, is it the same in Canada, the food culture we're talking about?
Yes, I am sure it's different. We have a few specific dishes that you would find only in a specific province or in a um specific city. But overall, if you come to Canada, you have to try the poutine. So poutine is one of Canada's national food, and that is something you need to try if you come over here.
Okay. So, Anybody else up for the questions? Okay. I suppose don't suppose there are any more questions. So I think it's already, there's a question. When you met your colleagues, do you felt any that, like you need to change yourself, like your Indian perception, or did you find difficulty in adjusting into their culture, or did you
Um,
find any need to change yourself?
so not I did in a good way though. So I have worked previously in advertising agencies in India, and the culture is not so great. You don't have any fixed timings. Um, you spend your whole day at work and you go home just to sleep. And that's how advertising culture was back in India. And over here, they take their 9 to 5 job very seriously. So if they say work ends at 5, I wouldn't be staying there beyond 5. The maximum I would stay would be till 5:30. So I had to adjust to that, but in a good way, and I was pretty happy about it. So when they work 9 to 5, they take that seriously and they work during that time and then they go. So you wouldn't be doing overtimes and you wouldn't be working on the weekends and you would have time to yourself. And this is another addition to why I would say Canada has a better quality of life compared to India.
Okay. So we'll take this question. That what's the corona? How much corona has changed this uh, situation in Canada? Like in India, we have complete lockdown. It's affected our culture. The food culture is now different. The way we used to eat on the street food has now been totally obsolete, and uh, people now prefer more hygienic food. And in cinemas also, we have films are also being made on a particular plot on that. Has that affected same been affected in Canada?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. COVID has affected Canada a lot, and you have to mask up at every place you go. Most of the offices are work from home now. Colleges have online lecture. You don't really go out often. They did open up dine-ins for some time, but then the cases have increased again now. So there is no dine-in food. You just have to take food home. There's just takeout available. So mostly all of the fun things that you could do have you have very less of them now. So COVID has terribly affected Canada as well.
Okay, so one person is asking that what's the basic difference between Indian fashion and Canadian fashion? Is there any particular Canadian fashion like we have in India? We have sari, suits, kurta, pajama, and is there any particular fashion trend there? Their
Uh,
traditional dress.
no, no, not really. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so
Like I
Madhvi is
said,
raising.
most
Yeah.
of the people are immigrants, so they have their own cultures.
Okay, so Madhvi is raising hand. Madhvi, you can say some. Unmute yourself and ask the question.
I have one question. Is the Canadian culture different? I mean, is it influenced by the European and the American culture, or is it different?
It is highly influenced by the American culture.
So you mean it is basically the combination of French, European, and the American culture?
French European in the province of Quebec, and other than that, it is American. Especially Toronto and especially the province of Ontario is highly influenced by US.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's another question that what's the most weirdest thing you have seen about Canadians in the culture? Is there
Uh,
any weird thing?
so Canadians are way too polite. They're just sometimes too nice. So this I had read this even before coming to Canada that Canadians have this habit of saying sorry for anything and everything. So they, even if it's not their fault, they just be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." So they're just never rude. They're just so nice, and they're just apologizing for everything that isn't even their fault. So it's pretty weird from if you come from a place like India where everyone is so expressive and speaks out what they think about. So it's a little weird to have so many polite people around.
Okay. So there's a question that how expensive are things there?
Um, so expensive. Now it completely depends on which part of Canada that you are coming to. Toronto is pretty expensive, one of the most expensive cities in Canada. Um, if you're staying in Toronto, then I didn't make a detailed video about that if you want to check it out. But if you're going to be staying in Toronto as a student, I was spending an approximate of $1,000 per month, which is around 50 to 55,000 Indian rupees, for which stay, my food, my transit, and all of that.
Okay. So Mansi is unable to raise her hand. Mansi, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you, Daksh. Hello, Tanya. This side Mansi. I want to ask you a question about gender inequality. Is in Canada also you face some kind of gender inequality? As in India, a girl child is considered a burden and often not allowed to see the light of the world. So in Canada, you also face this type of problem.
Um, Not at all, not at all. I haven't seen any discrimination as such. In fact, they respect women and they have a lot of opportunities for them. And if you come here, um, there would be no inequality. And they don't treat a girl child to be something they don't want.
Okay. So any there's a question that any new thing you tried in Canada and loved it? Anything new experience you
Um,
had?
a new experience. Okay. Uh, do you mean like food or like
And it can be
uh,
anything. Anything which is only present in Canada and you have must have seen this thing only there in Canada and you tried and you absolutely loved it. A pleasant experience.
um I mean I would I would say watching it snow for the first time was breathtaking because if I come from a place, Mumbai, which is so hot 12 months of the year. And then when I came over here and I saw the snow for the first time, it was breathtaking. And even now, when I see snowfall, I'm just in awe and I'm just looking at the sky, just staring at how beautiful it can be. So even though Canada is cold and it's freezing most of the times, but that snowfall and that experience is going to make all of that worth it.
Okay. So any more questions? We are at the end of the how's the racial and religious immigration is the immigration on the basis of race or religion varies in Canada.
Um, no. So in Canada, how the immigration works is, if you're a student, then you just apply for a course, and if you have good grades, if you have a proper English IELTS score, then you get accepted. And if we talk about PR, then you have a points-based system, and so those points would be how much work experience you have, if you have any Canadian experience, how much education have you done, what's your age, so a lot of points like that. And I don't think race is a part of any of those point system. So it just depends on your qualifications, and race is not a part of it.
Okay, so there's a question that Diwali and other Indian festival, how are they celebrated there in Canada?
Oh well, so if you come to Canada, you would be celebrating Indian festivals even more than what you did in India. Trust me, Canada has made me much more Indian than what I was back in Mumbai. And you'll be celebrating all festivals. you'd have get-togethers. If you're in college, then you will have Diwali parties and different parties which would be organized by your college. If not, then there are other places that organize such parties. In normal times, last year there was a huge celebration for Navratri. Um, there was a huge celebration hosted by our college for Diwali. So yeah, you would have places where you can go for celebration, and you would not feel like you are outside India because you will see so many Indians and you'll be celebrating just the way you would be doing in India.
Okay, so there's, I think, a question. Most funniest thing you have experienced or gone through? And what about festivals like Ganesh Chaturthi, which is only particularly famous amongst Mumbaikars? Is
Um,
it as vast?
Personally, Ganesh Chaturthi, I miss being in Mumbai a lot during Ganesh Chaturthi. It is celebrated, but obviously not on such a huge scale as it would be in Mumbai. But you would still be celebrating. I know a lot of people who got Ganesh ji to their house just like they would in India, and they did aarti every day, and we would go to the aarti. We would also celebrate with them. So you will definitely, if not having a celebration, you will definitely find like-minded people, and you can organize your own celebrations.
Okay, so there is a question that what's the most funniest experience? Guys, we'll wrap up. We are in the wrapping up stage of the, because it's already 5:30, I suppose, in the morning, and
Almost,
she's been up
almost.
all night for the webinar. So we'll wind up the session. So if any questions, you can ask in a hurry. And
Um,
naturally, Canada is an Indian English speaking country. It doesn't have any specific language.
um, yeah, their national languages are English and French. So
Does Canada has any street food?
street food. Well, you do have a few hot dog vendors, you have some poutine vendors, and just a few here and there, but you don't have any specific really famous street food over here.
So if we don't have any question, can I ask Asha ma'am to give a thank you speech and a warm thanks to Tanya for taking out so much time and efforts.
Thank you, Daksh. Hi, Hima. How are you doing? Okay, truly speaking, before this session, there were so many confusion in our mind about the culture difference in Canada and India. But we all are feeling very relaxed now in all perspectives, like in terms of jobs, living styles, eating habits, and others. So, seriously, it was a very great and very informative session today.
I would like to thank Tanya for this webinar and taking out so much time and efforts.
uh, yeah, thank you so much for having me, and it was so great talking to all of you guys. And if you have any other questions that you would like to ask me, then you can definitely do so. Maybe Daksh, maybe you could share my email or my Instagram social media handle with anyone who would
Yeah,
have any questions.
yeah,
And you could
definitely.
check
You can
out,
check out a YouTube channel
yeah,
where every
yeah,
detail is mentioned.
yeah, of
You can
course.
directly comment down your question, and she replies to every comment and everything.
I do, I try to.
Any questions regarding Canada, you can just check out the channel. Most of the questions will be answered through our video only.
Um,
Hope we could see you if we visit, any of us visit Canada.
oh, perfect, perfect. Do let me know if you guys do.
Okay, so thank you so much, Tanya. It was
No
lovely having
problem.
you. Now you can have a good sleep.
Yeah, I'm gonna be off to bed now, and nice talking to you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay, thank you everyone.